Hi, I'm Haley, and this is my concept spotlight video on expectancy violations theory. So let's get into it. Okay, so what is EVT, also known as expectancy violations theory? This basically theorizes about how we react when people violate our expectations. So this includes all types of behavioral violations, positive and negative, and I got the information from the slideshow from our textbook, pages 117 through 128. And so let's start off with what is an expectancy violation. From the book on page 117, it says behavior that differs from what is expected. And there's two types of expectancy violation. So the first one is predictive. So that's based off what normally happens in a situation, your personal knowledge, or maybe your personal experience with someone. If you're close friends with someone and they walk up to you and give you a big hug, that's more normal. Versus if a stranger tried to do that to you based off your personal knowledge with that person, it wouldn't be so normal. And the second type is a prescriptive violation. So that is based off what you think should happen in that scenario. A really good example of that would be in the US, we typically give someone a handshake or maybe don't make physical contact when greeting them for the first time. Versus in other countries, meeting someone for the first time, it's more common to maybe give a kiss on the cheek, kiss on both cheeks. Sometimes varies from country to country if you go left cheek, right cheek, left cheek. Just all depends on the cultural norms. So, there are three main factors in violations. The communicator characteristics, so that's age, sex, ethnicity, personality. If you're at a party and your friend is really introverted, and you know that about them, then you wouldn't expect them to be super loud and outgoing all of a sudden. Same thing goes with maybe your 6-year-old niece is a little bit, has a different communication with you than maybe your 86-year-old grandma. And the next factor is relational characteristics. The way you would treat your romantic partner is probably not the same way you would treat your boss. Um, and the third one is going to be context, so social and cultural influences. So another example of this could be kind of going back to the cheek kissing thing, like based on where you are in the world, things are different for greetings and different kinds of communication, as well as social settings. Maybe like you're in a library or movie theater, you're probably going to act differently than how you would at a party or just hanging out with your friends. So, how do we react to expectancy violations? There's two main ways that we react. It's a positive or negative interpretation. Our arousal and uncertainty increases when we notice someone has violated our expectations, whether it's positive or negative. And then we usually will start paying closer attention to what they're doing, really trying to decode what they're meaning by their violation. And we compare that with that decoding that we're doing, we compare that to what we were expecting of them, and then that's where that positive and negative interpretation comes in. And the second one is the reward value of the partner. So some behaviors are a little bit more ambiguous and can be up for interpretation based on your relationship with the person. Maybe it's a platonic friend versus, again, romantic partner, going to be different behavior. And also, reward value of the partner, I believe, relates to your preconceived notions about that person already. So again, positive and negative reward valences from the textbook. This is non-rewarding communicators are evaluated most favorably if they stay within the norms and avoid violating expectations. People tend to interpret unexpected behavior as consistent with their initial impressions of someone. So if you already like someone and they do something a little bit unexpected, maybe they're a lot friendlier, they'd surprise you with a coffee or something like of that extent, then you'll probably think more highly of them. Same thing if you already don't like someone, then if they make a comment that's rude or they step on your foot, something like that might come across more negative. So, going into that cycle, I took this graphic from the book as well because I think it is a really good explanation of how we react to different kinds of violations. So whether a violation is positive or negative, we go through this process of reevaluating maybe our relationship with them. So first, rewarding, unrewarding. If you look at the top line, if it's better than you expected, then you feel like your feelings are confirmed of liking this person. If it's worse than expected, you're probably more likely, if you already like someone, you're probably more likely to maybe give them a second chance and wondering what's going on if it's a negative violation. And then for unrewarding behaviors, if someone is usually really mean to you and then they start acting really nice, then you're probably going to be reevaluating in a way of like, why are they acting this way? And then if it's worse than expected, it just kind of confirms maybe your preconceived notions about them or that person. So there's lots of different kinds of violations in close relationships. So there's relationship escalation. So this could be maybe you're in a relationship and someone says, I love you for the first time. This is a big step and um, violates your expectations, but can be positive. Hopefully it's positive. Criticism and accusation. This is essentially criticizing someone. Maybe that will have a little bit more of a negative reward valence, probably, unless you take criticism really well, which if you do, good for you. And then relationship de-escalation. So maybe that's you're seeing someone and they say, hey, let's slow it down. This is going too fast. So putting a brake on that might cause you to either say, oh, good, positive reward valence, negative reward valence. Just depends on how you're feeling about the situation again. And then uncharacteristic relational behavior. So that goes into someone acting different, acting way out of the norms of how they normally act. And then transgression. So in a romantic relationship, that would be like having an affair, being disloyal, cheating, maybe emotional, physical cheating, acts of devotion. So that's going to be basically going above and beyond to really make someone feel special. And that's probably going to have more positive reward valence. Acts of disregard, um, basically blowing somebody off. Maybe you're going out with somebody else and they just stop texting you for like a few weeks. You'd probably be a little bit confused. Another one would be if someone like getting stood up on a date. That would be an act of disregard. Doesn't make a lot of people feel that great. And then gestures of inclusion. So kind of the opposite of that, I think. So that's going to be like you invite somebody to come to Thanksgiving dinner with your family, probably a more positive reward valence in including them. And then uncharacteristic social behavior. So, oh, okay, I apologize. Uncharacteristic social behavior would be like if you brought someone to a party, maybe again, the example of your introverted friend being all of a sudden really extroverted, just acting not themselves in a social situation. Um, Next one, especially for people our age, according to the textbook, it is pretty clear that we have very defined, um, we have defined in our own way that we have clear expectations for how people behave on social media. So from the book, some positive reward valences would be maybe learning about your similarities with somebody. Let's say somebody posts, "Oh, I'm moving to Texas," and maybe you live in Texas, and you're gonna say, "Oh, wow, that's so cool." And maybe you're gonna feel close to that person from that. So that's kind of goes into discovering positive information about people, responding to text in a timely manner, again, not blowing somebody off, being attentive to them, putting that goes into putting the phone down when in in-person conversation, not being a screenager. And then for negative reward valences would be the overuse of status updates. If your phone is constantly getting blown up from somebody constantly posting, we might not respond so positively to that. Overly personal disclosures, keep it to yourself. And then private conflict on a public channel, like if you've ever seen people fighting in the comment section about a private conflict, might not make you think so positively of them. And then obviously unfriending people and removing likes. I believe that one was pretty high up there with negative violations. All right, so thank you so much. That is my presentation about expectancy violation theory. I also did want to bring up that Judy Burgoon originally started this study about proxemics. I got that from a YouTube video. I think it's titled Judy Burgoon on expectancy violation theory. She originally started this theory from University of Arizona in the late 70s, I believe. And essentially, they started studying proxemics and how your proximity to someone when speaking to them, if it violates their expectations, how that goes into how you may feel about them. And that led to studying all kinds of behaviors in this study. And for my discussion question, my question is there a time you remember someone violating your expectations, and how did that make you feel? Or is there a time you violated someone's expectations, and do you feel they interpreted it positively or negatively? So, yeah, I can't wait to hear your responses. Thank you so much.